Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Nitro Racing League. Today we go to Gateway, or whatever the name is they got now for the racetrack, but my first race back in Nitro after I took kind of the week off when they raced at Charlotte last week. Obviously we have 3 wins this regular season so far, so definitely don't need to show up a whole lot now because we're locked in the playoffs, but the goal is to show up as many races as possible. But either way, we got straight into the race here. I did not show qualifying. It was actually my qualifying attempt was my first ever laps at this track in a cup car, so you can see I qualified P9. I knew it wasn't going to be a good lap, so I was not surprised one bit to be back here, but obviously we had the whole race to figure everything out to get you kind of going here. This lap is this race is 110 laps. Stage 1 and 2 are both 30 laps. Stage 1 ends on lap 31, stage 2 ends on lap 61, and then the race ends once we cross the line to hit lap 111. But I can definitely tell you that this was probably the most frustrating race of the season for myself. Obviously Mid-Ohio, last time we did a race in Nitro, wasn't very good for ourselves, but it was more of a humorous race now as we go up the inside of the 4 of Cameron there as we come through turns 1 and 2 on the second lap. But I pretty much spent this first stage just kind of trying to get my braking points down there. As we came through on lap 3, we had gotten up the inside of Smoke. We had made a pass on him. We actually were racing around him quite a bit throughout this race. Now as we came through on lap 4, you saw the 4 of Cameron and the 31 getting together now. As the 31, I believe, is new to the league. Now as you see his gamer tag there, Comba the Beast, or Combat Beast 24 now. As we went down into turn 3 up the inside, Smoke actually fought back up our outside as we went 3 wide with him and the 31 for a brief moment. But the 31, like I said, pretty sure he's new to the league, but he's got a good chunk of speed, so he's definitely a fairly fast driver, fairly clean driver. As we came to lap 5, Smoke could actually hit that little extension wall or something that comes out, and he crashed, and that would cause a complete disaster for him, bringing out our first caution of the day here in Gateway. So we would get right back into the action. We pretty much came to the pit lane every single caution throughout this race except for towards the end, which you'll see how that all shakes out in a little bit. But either way, we had the 4 just full send right into the back of the 18 there, actually. Our teammate of Bryce in turns 1 on the restart, but Andrew, our teammate, was leading. It was right now JJR 1, 2, 3, Andrew, Matt, and myself. We came through on lap 11, actually faded a little bit there, and you can just see exactly what just happened. We're not going to talk about this ever again now, as I was not excited to show this in the video. I did exactly what Smoke did on the back straight away, and then he ended up having issues. So we were behind. No caution came out because it was all by myself. Smoke, he had spun on the curb, and then what did I do on lap 15? I did the same thing Smoke did. I spin on the curb. We somehow keep it somewhat straight and get back going, but Smoke, he would be able to come through and gain the time back on me, make the passes. It was just a complete disaster for myself in this first stage. We got back to the inside of Smoke on lap 16, and we would be able to get back past him now at about the halfway point of this first stage here in Gateway. And to our luck, on lap 20, the caution actually came out for some incident or something in front of us, so we would get back into the action. We had came to the pit lane, and we came out P9 getting ready for the restart, and then the outside line decided we didn't really want to go too much here. As we went down towards turns 1 there, you see the 95 of Jay in the affiliate or alliance team to our team of Joe Gibbs Racing. As we came through, got to the bottom eventually and tried to work our way back forwards, running P11 at this point. Now there's big trouble up ahead there. The 41 of Justin went crashing, and that would end up bringing out another caution here on lap 24. Like I said, the stage ends once we hit lap 31, so obviously this would set up for a late stage restart. We would get back going. The 24 didn't have a great restart, so I was able to slide down in front of him and get back under Jay. But it was Rocket or Bryce leading at this point here in stage 1 as we exit turn 2. I should mention Bryce actually won last week in Charlotte in the race I did not attend in, so he's locked into the playoffs. Jay on lap 28 got into the back of me there into turns 1, but we kept it straight there as we came through out of turns 2 up in P6. Keep in mind the top 5 are the ones that get points in the stages, and we have an opportunity to still get stage points after a fairly rough first stage. We get up the inside of the 42 of Christian, who was all the way up by the wall. We also passed RJ through turns 3 and turns 4. All of a sudden we were up to P4. We came to the final lap, and it was now a JGR 1, 2, 3, 4. We had Bryce, Andrew, Karma or Matt, and then myself heading down this back straightaway, all kind of in competition for this stage victory, but I was just kind of laying back right here going into stage 3 as I didn't want to put too much pressure on anyone, and I was just trying to make sure we ended the stage without making a big mistake. But either way, Bryce would lead the way as he came out of turns 4, and it was going to be him in the 18 winning stage 1, Andrew 2nd, Matt 3rd, myself in P4, and then I think it was maybe the 31 that back there in P5. But once again, we came to the pit lane, got back going for the second stage from P3 here, right behind Matt, who had taken the lead on the pit lane. Andrew, if I remember correctly, actually had a really bad pit stop, and he got cycled back to like 7th or 8th or something like that. Now as we actually climbed up to P2 down the back straightaway in front of our teammate of Bryce in the 18, and we just kind of settled in right here in P2. We came to lap 40 already, 21 laps to go in the stage, right behind Matt there in the 20. We definitely had the speed to keep up with Matt here and contend for the lead, but I wasn't really being too aggressive at this point as we went down into turn 3. I was just playing it cautious here as I just still wasn't quite comfortable enough with the track to really make an aggressive move as we came through into turns 2, and we actually made contact with Matt. Apparently on his end, he said he kind of got loose on the exit of the corner, and I was already pushing up, so we just kind of hit each other, and unfortunately we lost some time, and then I actually let the 18 of Bryce go there because I saw the momentum he had, so I decided to let him go. We came to lap 45. I moved up the track for the 24 because he had actually come to the pit lane. He had fresh tires, so I decided to just let him go by the 18 and the 19. They got together a little bit, so Bryce loses some progress, and now we're back on the inside of our teammate in the 18. Cars are going on into turns 1 with about 15 laps to go at this point here. In stage 2, he nearly gets into the back of the 24 as he went down into the corner, so we would clear him for a brief moment. There's I'm sliding on the exit of the corner, and that allows Bryce to try and send it back up the outside as we go down this back straightaway. It was Andrew and Matt battling it out for the lead. Now as we go down into turn 3, Bryce sends it up the inside as we come through the center of the corner. And now he pushes up the track into the side of us just a little bit, so a little bit of contact made there, but it doesn't really matter now as he's sideways on the exit of turn 4, and a big save from him, and nearly cleaned us out as we got very, very lucky right there with less than 15 to go in the second stage. And then you saw up ahead, Matt and Andrew kind of got together, and then Andrew, he came to the pit lane, so did Bryce, so I was running P2, Karma was leading as he actually hits the little wall there that sticks out, the safer barrier in turns 1, wrecks himself for the lead, and all of a sudden we're leading. No caution came out. He would come to the pit lane, and all of a sudden we had to obviously get ready to come to the pit lane. I didn't want to stay out too long, so I decided we're going to come to the pit lane. This lap now is that's at least the 3rd or 4th driver in this race that kind of got bitten by that little barrier that sticks out there in the corners or even on the back straightaway or whatever. Now as we came through into the pit lane, I certainly lost a ton of time coming into the pit lane there as I did not really know where I needed to get slowed down at. So Andrew, he would come through, cycle out as the leader. Bryce cycled out in P2. We were P3, but Matt Chaffee in the 10 would come through out of the corner to take the 3rd position. So we dropped down to P4, but we would run down Matt and get back to the inside of him with less than 10 laps to go at this point here in stage 2, and then we would be able to make the pass and take over P3 as we came out of the corner. So it was Andrew and Bryce running 1, 2, myself in 3rd, and then we actually would end up getting a caution as it was actually Matt who had brought out the caution there as you saw me full into the wall there as I just full sent it because I already knew the caution was out, so just kind of messing around. But we came to the pit lane and came through to take 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires. You can see what happens. We came in P3, we unfortunately come out P5. At least we were on the inside, so we will get ready for a late stage 2 restart here with now just about 3 laps to go, approaching 2 to go. Andrew leads away into turns 1. It's the 31 and the 18 of Bryce side by side now as we get up the inside of Bryce as we exit turns 2, heading down this back straightaway side by side with, but he carries a momentum. Now as you can definitely carry a lot of momentum on that outside throughout this race as I got a little bit defensive over Matt Chaffee there into turn 3 to make sure I could stay on that inside lane. We came through on lap 60, now the final lap of the second stage. Andrew still leading over the 31, and then Bryce, I got into the back of him there through the corner. That kind of messed me up there on the exit, so we lost some time, but Bryce would get up closer to that 31 down into turn 3. The 31 tried to make a move on Andrew. It looked like on the outside didn't quite work. The 4 of Cameron gets to our back bumper, but not close enough now as Andrew will lead out of turn 4 to win the stage. Now as the 31 and the 18, they get together down into the inside wall they go as we cross the line. The 18 barely got us for P3 there at the end of the stage, so we get P4 here in stage 2. Oh, pretty exciting stage finish there at the end of stage 2, but once again we pitted for 2 cans of fuel, 4 tires, except for the 41 and the 10, who I believe took 2 tires. So we drop down to P5, the 2 Stewart Haas Racing cars on the front rows go down into turns 1 here to start this first lap of stage 3 on the inside of the 40 of Cameron, who actually got into the left rear of our teammate of Bryce, and that messed up Bryce quite a bit. Now he's going down this back straightaway running P5 here in Gateway. Now as the 10 gets a little bit defensive over the 31, even though he was on older tires, he was still kind of being defensive, and now we would have issues as we went into turn 3. Matt would actually go around there, and that would end up bringing out a caution. So once again, we would get right back into the restart running in P4, and the 18 actually went up by outside for a moment, but we were able to settle back in behind that 31. Now as they go 3 wide, RJ got into the side of the 41 and moved him, the 31, up the track, so all of a sudden we get to the inside, we're up in P3 again, and if we can get past RJ, we would be able to take over the second position. Sure enough, on lap 67, we had gotten to the inside of RJ now for the position, and sure enough, into turns 1, going in a little bit too deep, but we would manage to make it work. We would take P2 away from the 1 car driven by RJ, and now as you can do, just hoping that maybe I could try and run down Andrew. We closing up just a tiny bit here now on the end of lap 67 as it came out of turns 4 heading down this front straightaway. Bryce had moved his way up to P3 at this point, but the caution had actually come out, so we had to settle back in here in P2. We would come to the pit lane once again. This time we came out P2 in front of Andrew. My first restart of the night on a front row did not quite go as good as I was hoping it would. Definitely could have went a lot worse, so I wasn't too disappointed with that. Now as you heard, a lot of carnage behind us now as Andrew sends it up the inside of the 2 of Smoke. Now as I'm trying to not push the issue too much, kind of like Andrew, he pushed the issue on Smoke. I didn't want to do the same thing because he was in a bad spot right there, so I didn't want to make things worse for him. Now as we were 3 wide down the back straightaway, I settled in behind the 4 of Cameron into turn 3, and all of a sudden we go from P2 to P6 on this restart now up the inside of the 18 of Bryce. Now as it's getting a little bit interesting, Smoke struggling quite a bit on this restart now as we went down this front straightaway, hitting lap 71 down into turns 1 here with about 40 laps to go. There's actually made a little bit of contact with Smoke there as he kind of came down, but I was also going up at the same time, so we just kind of collided there, and unfortunately he went way up the track now as we were up to P4 at this point. And then RJ and Cameron got together a little bit, so we got to the inside of Cameron and took over P3, and now we were trying to get up to P2, once again trying to pass RJ with now less than 30 laps to go here in Gateway, and we couldn't quite get past him. Now as we went down into turns 1, the 18 got to the back of us a little bit there into the corner, and that pushes us up into the wall now as we came through turns 1 and out of turns 2 side by side, and now he gets loose and destroys us on the exit of turns 2, and now we get hit again down the back straight with a caution clearly out at this point as we are now flying through the air, rolling, and we land on 4 wheels now. So that was a complete disaster to say the least. And this incident right here kind of set the tone for the rest of our race. Unfortunately, as we would get back going here on lap 79, there were some failed restart attempts here later in this race, and I believe we had one of them right there. So we came through on lap 79 when we finally got back going, and obviously you see this field of cars that we got to work our way through. We got up to P11 though as we came through on lap 80 up the inside of the 31, who kind of came across my nose there, but I just kind of got in there kind of late as well. Now as we came through on lap 82, the 31 goes spinning on the curbs, and we drive straight through him, and then one of the other drivers, actually, that wasn't even a part of the wreck, called a caution, and I didn't think there was a need for a caution, but we came through to the next restart now on lap 85, and obviously that's kept our progress back as we lost positions on that incident. You can see just how aggressive everybody was getting. At this point, we were 3 wide now with Jay and the 42 of Christian down the back straight away into turns 3. So we came to lap 86 now up the inside of the 24, who gets into the left rear of the 10 a little bit, but they keep it straight now as we exit the corner. RJ and the 1 looks like he got in the wall, and now the 31 is going to take it 3 wide up the inside. At this point, I was starting to get frustrated, I should say now, as just kind of trying to make sure we don't force the issue and mess anyone over, and then obviously people pounce on that opportunity, being really aggressive now as we came through on lap 87, still running in P10, the 24, the 1, the 10, they all kind of got together. It looked like they got a little bit slow. We passed Matt Chaffee there. We get to the inside of the 1 of RJ again, and now finally back up at least into P7, and I was hoping that we could finally start to settle in and try to gain some of these positions back that we've lost after the 18 took us out a little bit earlier. Now as we came through on lap 91, still running P7, but closing in on the back of the 2, and there it is. I make a big mistake out of turn 4 getting on the curb, and that would bring out the caution. So at this point, the frustration levels probably sitting at about a 3.5 out of 10. And at this point in the race, as there was 20 to go, the caution clearly out. So we would get ready once again for a pit stop. I didn't even bother showing the restart because we just got back going. You saw the one of RJ hit that safer barrier, another victim to that. The 2 and the 41, they got together, and all of a sudden, we were back up in P7 and battling for P6 after this restart got going. Now trying to pass Smoke into the corner, but he would actually take the position, and then we actually got a caution. So we all had to slow down once again. Once again, we get back going, though, from P6 at this point after the pit stops, and there was only 6 laps to go, as we had like 2 or 3 failed attempts at a restart. Basically, a failed attempt at a restart is if we don't make it to the line. We don't complete one whole lap after the restart starts without a crash happening. So we had like 2 or 3 failed attempts at a restart. We came through on lap 106 at the end of the lap. You see Smoke, he would actually go spinning on the apron or on the curb. That would bring out another caution. The 31 hit the wall because obviously when I got into the smoke there trying to avoid him, it pushed me up the track into the 31. So once again, we would get a late race restart here. We keep in mind the checkered flag is once we hit lap 110. So this would, or 111, sorry. So this would set us up for overtime. Now, is this 2 laps to go here in Gateway? All of a sudden, we're back in the picture. At least now, as the 42 and the 19 are really slow into the corner, getting together there. So I decided to pounce on the opportunity. Well, the 19 drifts up the track, and obviously we pay the price for it. So frustration level maybe went up to about a 5 at this point as we finally got back up there, and then the caution come out for someone behind us. So we get back going again for attempt number 2 now at overtime. Andrew battling up there in front of us with the 4 of Cameron, who had actually taken the lead on this restart now as we came through down this back straightaway at the outside of Smoke down into turns 3, and once again they get together in front of us now. We get to the inside of the 41 of Justin, 3 wide in the middle, and then the 42 goes around and just before Cameron gets to the line to start the final lap, which would now force a 3rd attempt at overtime. So now the rules are when you hit attempt number 3 at overtime, a caution cannot be called. So the next flag will be the checkered flag once we hit lap 117. Now as we go down into turns 1, 2 laps ago, no matter what. Here in Gateway now as we come through turns 1. There you see 3 wide in front of us. Now as the 41 clips us in the left rear, and that messes us up already now as there's some drivers behind us with fresher tires. Now the 10 goes up our inside 3 wide down the back straightaway. He backs out of the 3 wide as we go down into turns 3. The 41 hits me in the bumper, messes me up, and then now the 10 is actually going to go back up the inside 3 wide in the middle. Now drifts up the track, hits us, and now my frustration levels have pretty much gone through the roof at this point with about everybody. Now as we went down starting this final lap here in Gateway, I told Jay to actually go by on the inside because I didn't care at this point, and he messed up the corner and then hit me as well. But I just, like I said, I didn't care at this point. Now as we came through the turns 2, as I was pretty frustrated with some drivers here in the field as we went down this back straightaway now running P12 as we go down into turn 3. It was now the 31 who had taken the lead on the final restart here, the 3rd attempt and overtime, and now the 3 of MJ is going to get on the curbs, and he saves it and slides up right in front of us now out of turns 4, and the 31 would come through to win as we would come through for a 12th place finish here in Gateway, not deserving of 12th at all. So I was pretty frustrated, especially Matt was kind of the one that kind of set off most of the frustration right at the end as it just built up, and he was just kind of the last straw. So I certainly let him know right there that I wasn't very happy. Either way, we finished the race there, P12, and that's just kind of how it ended for us, as I did not get a points update. I'm not sure if the points are updated. I'm sure they are, but I just forgot to actually get them. But either way, that will do it for this episode here. Is certainly one of those just one of those nights here in Gateway in the Nitro Racing League. So we'll see what we can do in the next one when we go road course racing at Road America. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a great day.
Stay on the bottom.